Namaste, dear Yogita ji. Thank
Hi.
you for being here, my dear teacher, my dear friend. Let's introduce you to our dear community and to all the people who are following us and being enthusiastic with our teachings. Please
And
tell
so,
us something
hello,
about you.
namaste everyone. Hi, Zerkan. Nice to see you again. I'm always happy to talk with you and connect with you. And yes, you've been my student, you and Indra, for many, many years. I've been teaching yoga and Tantra since almost 18 years, mainly in Thailand, but I'm traveling around the world. Right now, I'm in Israel, which is where I was born. I'm visiting my family and also working a little bit here. And I'm very excited to share the teachings and to do the practices with the people who are enthusiastic and open for this. And I really love to visit Austria, especially Linz, where you stay, and to be hosted in Tara Yoga School.
Yes, and we will do an amazing workshop for our community, and it will be accessible also online, so people don't
Wow.
have to travel all the way to Linz. It will be accessible also like this, like all the products and all the courses that we are doing. And let's talk about the workshop that we'll do on the 2nd and 3rd of September, which is coming pretty soon. And we will do a workshop with the name Self-Love. It's an amazing name, amazing topic. And there is only in my heart, only one person who can teach it that well, is you. And I'm happy to hear what will be the content. From the beginning, before we start about the content, this workshop is, from all the workshop that we are offering, the only one where you, as our students, can book the each part single. It will be 4 parts: Saturday morning one part, Saturday evening one part, Sunday morning one part, Sunday evening one part, and you can book each of them single. You don't need to attend the whole workshop. And we will talk about all 4 topics now. Let's start with the first topic, which is about the nature of true love. What is it about, Yogita ji?
Okay, great introduction. So, first of all, just to say a couple of words about self love. Yes, and to emphasize what you said, that it's 4 mini workshops. Each one is a workshop by itself, but of course, it will be more beneficial if you can attend the whole 4 mini workshops that will
Of course.
be the total of one weekend workshop of 2 days. So, first of all, self love, we need to understand what it means. Yes, many people think self love is coming from the ego. Is I love who I am, I love what I do, I love my profession, I love my life, my family, and so on. So we are going to tap into what does the word self mean in spirituality, in yoga, and in tantra. And we are talking, if you wish, we can explain very simply, is the self with the big S. There's the small s, that is me, that Yogita and Zerkan and Indra and all the people, that we are separated beings, but actually the self is that part that exists and resides within all of us. And then when you love that, you live in love, and you can only express love
Mhm.
and connect in love with other people. You recognize yourself in the other. So when I love you, is I love you not because you're handsome or beautiful, or you give me pleasure, or you give me respect, or whatever. Is because I recognize myself in you. So saying that, also leading to the first topic, that the the true nature of love, or the nature of true love, means the recognition of the self in the other. Yes, and also to note, just as a side note, that many people complain, I love him or her, but I don't feel they love me back. There's a lot of lack of love. You can see also a lot of heart diseases, heart
Mhm.
attacks, lack of energy in the heart chakra. So we are going to talk about the qualities of the heart chakra. Yes, anahata, for those who know, and the air element, how it is connected, and what is it that we can do to cultivate this within ourselves and to connect to others from that place instead of expecting that the love will come from outside, because I don't love myself, even some people hate themselves, then if he or she loves me, then I will feel good about myself. Instead of being a beggar, for other people to love me from outside, I learn to love myself, if you want, the higher self. And then I'm in that state. Of course, it takes practice, it takes awareness. I cannot say that I'm 24/7 in that state, but I can definitely share the, the tools or the practices that we can do.
Yes.
For
What is so interesting for me when I listen to you is, especially in this, the nature of true love and living in that state sounds almost enlightened, sounds almost too far away, for normal people or normal yoga practitioners. Tell me about, because you are a practitioner since so many years, almost 2 decades, you are in this kind of living. What about people who are not having this experience and having a daily life, cultivating these things? How is that possible?
Yeah, it's a good question. So, first of all, we can only start where we are.
Mhm,
Even if you want to climb the Eiffel Tower or 10,000 steps, you need to start with the first step. Yes,
mhm,
so that's first of all to accept, to see where I am, to have awareness, and then to start slowly, slowly. There are little secrets, little steps that we can apply. We just need to have the willpower and the wish to do it. For this, you did recently Manipura workshop that I hope many people joined, or maybe they can join later with recordings. But this requires this determination that I'm not going to give up. I can see where are my flaws, and I want enough to be happy. Everybody wants to be happy. It doesn't matter if you're a spiritual practitioner for 18 years or for one day or zero. Yeah. So this simple wish to be happy, and everybody wants to love and to be loved. You don't need to be like a great enlightened master for this. And this is what I like very much about this study about love, that is infinite. I
mhm.
cannot say that I've reached it and finished, but because of this awareness and because of these practices, I can see more easily the darkness, because what we do in this practice is we take the candle, we take the light and we take it to the dark place, and then we see better what we could not see before. It's like you
Mhm.
want to clean the house. Normally, people don't go to the corners or where the big furnitures are. We do it once a year or once in a few years when there's a big project of cleaning. So, this, in a way, for me, is like a constant cleaning process to see where we are not experiencing it, where we are lacking it, and what are the effects. This will come in the next mini workshops because we cannot do everything in one
Yes.
model. But this is like we have a goal in a way, like an aspiration. Like I want to climb the Everest. I can see the top, but I am here. So I will take step by step by step. I will breathe. I will make a plan. Okay, maybe today I need to rest. Maybe tomorrow I will climb a little bit more. Need to take into consideration the pressure, everything in this way. Also in daily life, we all relate to each other. If it is with the family, with the children, with the in the work, on the street when you go to the market or to the shop to buy something, there's always opportunities to practice it. And of
Yes.
course, in the intimate relationship is the biggest opportunity because this is where we feel so much love. But on the other hand, we also feel a lot of frustration and pain and sorrow.
Mhm. Okay, let's go to the second point. Maybe we will touch exactly these points. It's about conscious emotional release. What
Yes.
does it mean, and how do we work on these big words?
Yes, as you can imagine, it was difficult for me to find words that describe and also to find how can I do something only in 3 hours. But 3 hours is a lot when you are aware every minute. So, in other words, you could say something like shadow work. People know this expression a lot. but I wanted to bring a name that is a little bit more spiritual and more elevating and enlightening, as you say, bringing light. So we carry within ourselves like a storage of emotions, yes? And many of them are not positive. Everything that makes you feel bad, down, depressed, you know that it's not positive, it's not elevating, it's not making you happy to be alive, yes? And very often there is not even the awareness of these emotions, and they act like puppets and act through us and makes us behave in a way that will be in the exact opposite of the nature of true love. So
Mhm.
for this, we need to bring the awareness. It's like you say, there is this higher self, this enlightened me that is only love, that is aspiring just for this. But then on the other hand, there is this lower self, these difficult parts of my ego that act very often without my awareness, yet I can look at it, yes, and I can even be disgusted by it and like, what? I did this? Like, how many times we behave in a way that we regret
Mhm.
afterwards?
Mhm.
Yeah? So allowing, first of all, these emotions to be there, to understand that we are emotional beings, that we have a rainbow of emotions, you know, like we have many, many different kinds of emotions, and to bring awareness to it and then to release it consciously. What does it mean consciously? With awareness, with intention. Very often we release these emotions unconsciously. We vomit it, you know,
Mhm.
usually on somebody else, and then we hurt somebody else. Usually this somebody else is someone that we think we love, you know. We will
Yes.
see that when we act there, we don't act with love, we act with very selfish motivation, and we act actually from the opposite of love. This will bring us to the next topic, that is working with the fears, but to bring a safe space for people to first of all feel, bring the awareness. What is it that I feel that I have it stuck inside me? And this, by the way, create a lot of pain in the body, create stress, create diseases, create lack of ability for people even to perform at the sexual level, and creating intimacy in their lives, in their relationship, because of all these emotions that are stagnant, that are stuck inside. So we will try, you know, in this workshop to bring awareness to it and consciously release it in a way that is healthy and that is helping to again bring light to the darkness, to make peace with myself. This is who I am at the personal level. These are all my colors. And yes, maybe these colors are a little bit dirty and dark and painful, but I want to release it with love.
Mhm. And do we have any practical practices in this kind of thing, or is it just informational form of workshop?
Yes, for sure. Or something came up here. In all the workshops with me, I really believe I'm a very active person. I like to touch, I like to look in the eyes, I like to hug, I like to move and to dance. I don't believe that on frontal teaching with only talking, me as the teacher and the student listening, is working. After
Mm.
10, 15 minutes, I lose the people. So even when I teach and I give a lecture, I interact with the students, I ask them questions, I tell them to ask me if something is not clear. I like to make the people move. Yeah, so with all the workshops with me, also the one that I described already before, there are going to be exercises to
Mhm.
experience these teachings, yes, and
Mm.
to practice it and to get immediate results. It's
Yes,
not something that I give you theory and then I give you homework to practice at home when you
yes,
get upset. No, you will get upset there, you will connect to what makes you upset, and then we're going to do a conscious emotional release with different methods. I'm not going to expose it now because then there's
yes.
no surprise element. But for sure, there's going to be exercises. I would say
Amazing.
even maybe 50-50% more or less between
Nice.
lectures, or if you want like theoretical teachings, and then the exercises and the practices.
Let's come to the next day, to the Sunday morning part, about a very, very big topics. I have the feeling, especially in Austrian, German, Swiss area, very far spreaded problem that we have. It's about fear.
Yes.
Uh, Transforming fears is one of the major points by reaching love and self-love. Tell us about this amazing topic you are teaching there.
Thank you. You made a very good introduction, very tempting. Yes, so as you described, I agree with you. And I think it's not only in these countries. I see it very much now in Israel. We have seen it some years ago when there was this coronavirus spreading. And we see it all along the history with the wars, with the fights in families, in between countries, in the countries between the citizens. There's always fear of losing something. There's fear of disappearing. Of course, there's the basic fear of death that we all have, that we wish to survive, and we do anything to stay alive. Um, what we see here when it comes to down to earth, to relationships, and to this great topic that we've mentioned of self love is that very often, exactly as I said, there are a lot of emotions that are under the surface, that there's no awareness for these emotions. Also, a lot of the fears are not conscious. Yes, there is a lot of fear. People act out of fear, and then they don't understand why they are not happy, and there's no love in their life. Yes, there's self-hate, there's diseases, there's suicide, there's a lot of terrible things happening. Yes, and the fear, many teachers like to say that the fear is actually the opposite of love. And whenever you act, you need to ask yourself, am I acting out of fear, or am I acting out of love? And very often we will see when we are triggered, somebody did something, somebody said something that pissed me off. I got really upset. It can be I'm angry, or I'm sad, or I feel rejected, or whatever it is that I feel very, very disturbed. My reaction will be usually, unless I'm aware and conscious and I did the work, and I'm very, very determined, usually the automatic pilot will be to act out of the fear, which means I need to defend myself. I'm now in danger.
Mhm.
Therefore, I cannot connect. I cannot be in love. I definitely don't love myself because now it's almost like I'm afraid of dying. Of course, it's not the physical death, it's the death of the ego. Yes. And the idea, what I aspire to do in this workshop, first of all, again, to bring light to the darkness, to look into the fears. What is it that you are afraid of? Maybe it's in the between yourself and life and God, or it's in relationship, could be in sexuality, could be with the children, could be in many, many different subjects in life that we experience fear. So I would like to help people to, first of all, bring awareness to the fear, and then in a way embrace yourself. Okay, it's allowed to be afraid. It's natural to be afraid. It's not bad. Even all the people who are very courageous and have been warriors, and Gladiator even said it in the movie, being courageous doesn't mean you're not afraid. It means
Mhm.
you see the fear and you act despite the fear. Yes, you act consciously with the fear, and then the fear melts away. And I've experienced it in my life so many times. The one example that comes to my mind now, that I had a big fear to talk in front of audience. I wanted to say something very, very important, but there were 200 or 300 people. And even after many years of being a public speaker and teacher, my heart was toot, 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 so much fear. Of course, I'm not going to die, but the body respond against the rational. It's not rational to be so afraid, and yet my heart would beat. And I remember, because I had the awareness, and I knew if I'm not going to do it now, I'm going to regret. So I raised
Mhm.
my hand and I did that. And of course, the heart is beating, but I was so happy afterwards. It was such a feeling of victory, you know? So this is just one example. Of course, we experience many, many different fears that simply block us from shining, from
Mhm.
being happy, from expressing our true self. Yes, and from connecting intimately with the people who are dearest to us. So transforming the fear for me means that you see the fear, and now with the power of love, with the power of awareness, with the power of the light of consciousness, you transform it into love, into action, into intimacy, into vulnerability. Yes,
Mhm.
instead of pretending, actually to admit, I'm actually afraid now. I'm scared
Mhm.
that this happened, and then I act anyway. there's something that is happening that is really opening the heart.
Yes. And this kind of people also, for me, seem to be really strong. You know, if somebody can say, hey, this was really hurtful right now for me, you know, and just being there and being honest with themselves makes them so sexy, so to say. Yeah. So like self-mature, you know, like it's amazing to see these kind of personalities. So thank you
Yeah,
so much.
I agree with you. Just to make a comment to make sure people understand what you mean, because I understand what you mean, but it can be misunderstood. Many times people say it's hurtful because you did that. They blame the other. You hurt me. But actually, here we are going to own that what I feel is I feel it.
Mhm.
You did what you did, but you didn't do it to hurt me.
Yes,
Many
sure.
times we tell stories, we imagine things, and we really believe the story that somebody wants to hurt me. And then
Mm.
again, it creates distance instead of connection, instead of love and intimacy.
Mhm. Let's come to the last topic, Sunday afternoon. We
Yeah.
will talk about the biggest part. It's about blissful states, or how you call it, blissful sensations.
Yes, I
Uh,
like this. I didn't think about it. Blissful states. It's very good. What I intended to do, it's like a party, to conclude this whole digging in the shit, in the mud, in the darkness. Now celebrate. Yes, so through the body, that is the gate of consciousness, obviously, because can you imagine yourself being conscious not in your body?
yeah.
Who are you without your body? It's like something that is very, very far out, very high, crown chakra thing. So we have this body, and in Tantra, we use the body. Yes, so my idea in this workshop is to give, of course, always some teachings, but mainly to do some practice that will help people to connect to the body. We talk about love of the self. Now I will bring love for the body, because the body is the vehicle of the soul.
Mm.
Yes, the body is like the donkey that takes me from one place to another place. Yes, and if I'm not in love with my body, where can I be in love?
Mm.
One of the great yogis said, if you cannot see love in your heart, in your own heart, and in every living being, where could you see it? Where could you see God if not in your heart? And
Mm.
God is love. Yes, so connecting to the body, bringing love to the body and pleasure. We're going to do it's a little bit more juicy, more tantric vibrations in this mini workshop, where I'm going to guide people how to connect to the body, how to bring pleasure without not to touch somebody else, only my own body, and how to move that energy. Yeah, so in a way, going to be a little bit of a sexual awakening of the energy, sexual pleasure, and then bring it to the heart, and even why not to a blissful state that is beyond the heart, even like going higher. So this would be more or less. Let's see how the people will
Amazing.
go.
Amazing.
This is
And also, I want to say one last thing before we end this interview. Normally, the workshops with the Yogita are much, 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 much more expensive than what we are creating here. It's a kind of gift that our teacher Yogita is doing, on one hand, for the Austrian community, but especially also for the Tara Yoga community. So please, let's be all thankful. And from my side, in the name of the community, Yogita ji, thank you that you're doing this for such a cheap thing, coming all the way to Austria and giving us these teachings. Thank you so much
thank
for
you.
being with us and giving us your amazing presence.
Thank you. I hope to see
See,
many of you guys.
yes, see you soon.
See you. Bye.
Bye bye, Yogita.